What's going on, good people of the internet? It is time once again. I did that horrid. Why did I mess up my own intro? It is not time for this. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Because we're all a little nervous and trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay. What's going on, good people of the internet? It is time once. Jesus! I'm trying to do the fucking Blurred Grounds intro. Because I'm trying to mush the two together and it's not working. Ugh. What's going on, good people of the internet? It is time for OnComicsGrounds.com's flagship podcast, Panel to Panel, where a bunch of folks shoot the breeze and talk about comic books and such. Okay, there we go. I feel better. I'm probably going to leave all that in because you know what? We're going on some really scary times right now, folks. But we're here. We're talking about comics because we care about comics. We had some interesting news released today, and we wanted to just get you the information. That way you would be informed of what's going on and just talk about the situation a little bit. I don't want to speak out of term, so I'm going to throw it over to Mary, and we'll just have a roundtable discussion about everything that's going on.
Okay, so this is just a quick little episode to try and, talk about the facts that we have now, what is going on, and what potential implications we have. As a result of the coronavirus outbreak, Diamond Comic Distributors has said that they will no longer accept merchandise or books, if you will, from comic publishers. That they will be accepting no more new publications. Which means that once Diamond has emptied their warehouses of whatever they currently have, comics will not be on sale for the foreseeable future.
The only way going forward is going to be through digital.
Yeah. Now, given from my days in retail, they probably have maybe a week or two, maybe 3, I'm not 100% sure, but they probably have at least a week or two of releases in the warehouse. But
the statement released by Diamond says product distributed by Diamond and slated on sale of April 1st or later will not be shipped to retailers. So that means even if they do have April 1st stuff, they're not even going to bother.
They probably don't have that yet. But this has potentially weighted implications for us. The direct market is the backbone of the comic book industry. It is probably very annoying for a lot of people because, digital books have gotten popular just across the board, because if you have a digital library, you can take it with you just about anywhere. Whereas if you wanted to take print comics, you have to haul 14 trades and 3 single issues, Yep. But Diamond has a monopoly in the North American distribution market. And North America does make up the majority of comic book sales. So, with Diamond not releasing new comics, we will probably see dozens, if not hundreds, of comic book shops across the United States closing their doors permanently. Because Diamond, they have a monopoly. This decision wipes, 90 some odd % of publishers off the board. Because almost every major publisher and most minor or quote-unquote indie publishers have exclusive contracts with Diamond. Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, IDW, and pretty much anything you can think of. If you've gotten a book at a comic book store, they are distributed through Diamond, and it is almost always an exclusive contract.
They're not allowed to sell anybody else's comics in there.
Yes. If a comic book shop tries to work with another distributor, they will lose their Diamond contract. And to the frustration of a lot of comic book fans, Marvel and DC still make up the backbone of the industry. So, this sounds panicky and sensationalistic, and I know me saying that dozens, if not hundreds, of comic shops could close. I wish I could say I was exaggerating. Maybe we can be generous and say that hundreds is a bit much, but there are comic shops in the US every day that, a bad week of sales and they struggle to meet payroll, kind of a thing. Diamond's minimum orders, they keep going up because you have to order a minimum amount. I do not remember what it is off the top of my head, but $500, you have $1,000, whatever. You have to order that minimum to even qualify to order.
Damn.
So, yeah. But I mean, and this is information that's not available to the public. I would have to talk to retailer friends, and understandably, retailers are pretty tight-lipped about what goes on with Diamond because Diamond will retaliate. They could pull Free Comic Book Day away from people. It is. It's a precarious situation, and Diamond can basically do whatever the hell they want to. Now, a lot of people are starting, a lot of people are asking why Diamond has this much power. And it is because that in the late 80s through the early 90s, Diamond spent a lot of time either buying up smaller distributors or pushing them out of the market. And in 1997, Diamond was investigated by the U.S. Department of Justice for possible antitrust violations, which basically means that they were a monopoly. The investigation was closed in November of 2000, with no further action being deemed necessary, on the basis that, yes, Diamond had a monopoly on the comic book direct market, but since they didn't have a monopoly on all book distribution, it wasn't a quote-unquote illegal monopoly. So Diamond is a monopoly. There is no denying it that Diamond is a monopoly.
There used to be other publishers, not publishers, distributors. Like, wasn't there a point where there was like 3 or 4, and then Marvel tried to buy one, and that went up in flames?
I think so. I'd have to do some more research digging into it. I mean, there still are other distributors, but they often work with like indie bookstores and whatnot. They don't really do much. I mean, I am aware of the existence of other distributors, but they are very small and I think very localized. I think there's one in Seattle. I'm not sure, but a lot of what happens in the direct market is pretty much because Diamond said so. I mean, Diamond has a yearly revenue of about $500 million. So, yes, this will hurt them. And yes, Diamond is doing this to try to flatten the curve, as it were. And I can appreciate why they're doing it, but at the same time, this will have repercussions. Like, pretty much any decision that is being made.
Damn. I mean, like, Travis, you're kind of like less of like you have less knowledge than I do about this kind of stuff. Do you have any questions about this?
I'm kind of shell shocked, honestly. Like right now, I'm like running through with all my like comic buddies who I talk to online. Like, hey, this print medium is probably dead. Like, it's either they adapt to digital or we might lose comics, and that's. Wow, dude, that's wild to me. Like, man.
And, like, Mary, to your knowledge, there's no way to track digital sales currently, is there?
Amazon does not publish those numbers. Comixology is owned and operated by Amazon.
That is scary. And the thing was, we didn't really even have the best way to measure sales charts even before this, because we only had the number of books sold to the comic shop. We didn't know what the numbers were for the books sold from the comic shop. It's just what their stock was bought for. So, like, the idea that we don't even know the sales numbers is kind of scary.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is no effective way to track just what books, how many books sold from comic book stores. The numbers that Diamond releases that they put in the previews and whatnot, those are pre-orders made by the shops. And most shops, obviously, they will pre-order for their subscription boxes, and then they would order more for the new release wall, as it's commonly referred to. But there is no guarantee of how many of those books actually sold, because that's when you have the variants start coming into play.
And then you have things like Marvel telling people they have to like buy a certain number of the base cover to get the variant and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's Marvel's Exceeds covers that you will have to, because there's incentive variants, and then there are Exceeds covers, and Exceeds covers are you have to exceed 100%, 200%, whatever of what you would normally purchase for this book to get a variant, and then you sell the variant either to customers or on eBay or some other auction site to hopefully try and offset the cost. And then you are left with these books that you had to exceed the orders of, and if those books don't sell, then you're just kind of stuck with them. And I worked in a comic book shop, and I have had to deal with those books, those books you have to buy for the Exceeds variants that don't sell. There are just stacks of them. You can't give them away.
That's tragic.
And that's not even talking about the time that Marvel sent boxes of free copies of, I think it was Hawkeye #1 and She-Hulk #1 to basically give away to try and get people into reading the books. We had just boxes of She-Hulk, just boxes of them, because we bought the ones that we needed to sell. And it was just like, well, what the hell are we going to do? Because if it's a printer box from the publisher, that's, if I remember correctly, about 225 copies per. So what the hell are we going to do with them? Like, we made, no disrespect to the creative team on that book, absolutely no disrespect, but we were making jokes about wallpapering the break room with them, like,
wow,
because we just had so many, and they would sit there in these boxes and collect dust, and they weren't returnable because they were pretty much free from Marvel. So like, well, what the hell do we do with them? And Diamond pretty much just said, well, not our problem.
And it's I don't think the industry wants to go all digital, but I feel like it's a scary prospect we have to start looking at.
Well, publishers don't want to go digital, especially Marvel. Yes, this is conjecture, mind you. I need to put a disclaimer on this that this is conjecture, and I really don't know how much trouble I'm going to get in for, recounting the time we joked about wallpapering the break room. But and this is conjecture on my part, but I don't think publishers want to go all digital, because Marvel does big numbers with their variants. Big numbers. That's why books have 26, 27, 30 variants. I will never get over US Avengers.
Oh god,
I want to say there were 60 plus covers for that book.
They did every freaking state plus other arts,
and we were drowning in them. When I worked at the shop, we were just absolutely drowning in them.
Travis, did you see that shit?
What?
The US Avengers book that had like 60 fucking covers?
Oh, no, I did not. But
they did
Google.
They did a cover for every freaking state.
And Canada.
And Canada.
Wow.
And then there was, the blank variant, and I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure they probably did a Scotty Young variant. Like,
surprisingly, there wasn't a Scotty Young variant for US Avengers. There wasn't.
Huh.
Because I bought that book the day it came out, because it was the continuation of Ewing's Avengers, and I was like really excited about it. I would have picked up the Scotty Young cover if it existed.
See, I just kind of assumed. Huh. I just remember, like, oh god, what was it? California was really popular, so we had like just stacks of California, and then somebody misshuffled them, so we had to kind of pull Minnesota out of California. It was a really funny moment.
That's random, because California is Iron Man.
But I worked in a very large warehouse, so there were a lot of customers. It was mail order. So
oh, okay, yeah.
I assume we had a lot of California customers.
Okay.
But just a a general disclaimer, I did used to work in a mail order warehouse. I'm not gonna say which one because
Oh wait, oh there
just
was
in
a Scotty
case.
Young cover. I'm crazy. It was a freaking Squirrel Girl painting Red Hulk. I'm dumb. I
Gotcha.
dead ass thought there was not a Scotty Young cover for that one because I remember sitting on the freaking wall. Because there was the Scotty Young cover, there was a Stegman cover, there was a action figure cover, a hip hop variant cover. I hated those hip hop variant covers so much. That had to be murder for you, Mary.
Yeah. But I mean, just kind of tying this back to our point, these variants are a reason why I think publishers don't want to go digital. But if Diamond making this move puts comic shops out of business, they might not have a choice. I mean, there are shops that will probably be fine. Graham Crackers, I think they have several locations. I'm pretty sure they're a chain. So I mean, these big stores are going to be fine. Midtown, I'm a little worried about because Midtown is a discount mail order service, but they also have 5 locations in New York City, and I know collectibles are probably big business for them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of their mail order makes up for those stores. So there are a lot of questions and like 2 answers. But the 3 of us kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit with the information that we have. At time of writing, the only company that has made a statement is IDW, and it looks like they are suspending publication of their May releases.
Wow.
We've done some looking around. DC has not said something. Marvel has said nothing
DC said the
officially.
printers are turning off here tomorrow.
Okay, so DC's turning off their printers. So this is.
And then apparently a statement from Diamond is expected to be coming through the publishing partners in the next couple days.
Yeah. And from my time at retail, I can tell you that retailers have to order 2 months in advance. So if you've ever placed, that's why solicitations are for 2 months in advance, is because that's how you have to order it through Diamond. So with these books that have been, pre-ordered, we don't know how this is going to work out.
Travis, did you have a question a minute ago?
So basically, like the order of things that I'm gathering here is that Diamond is shutting down for X amount of time. We really don't know. That spells doom for a lot of LCSs everywhere.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
And even if by someone survives, all the way, like the ones that do make it out are going to be far less than what were there when it started. So now comics as a print medium will have to be fiscally justified to live, or they'll get the axe, basically.
And something, when you compound this with ever increasing cover price.
Because we've seen cover prices going up more and more by the dollar every couple of years now.
Right.
So, I mean, we're in a tough spot.
Yep.
I mean, hell, we as fans are in a tough spot, but, LCS is, I mean, I do not want to be in the shoes of someone who owns a comic book store right now. Not to mention that a lot of them have probably had to close their doors because a lot of shelter-in-place orders. I live in Indiana. Indiana just got a shelter-in-place order.
Ohio starts in like 10 minutes where ours is hitting.
Like, as of midnight on, oh my god, today's Monday, right?
Yes.
I think as of midnight tomorrow, on Tuesday, we're gonna get a shelter-in-place. It seems kind of useless, but that's a conversation for another thing. But, I know it seems kind of bizarre that we came to you not knowing a lot of information at the time of writing, but we felt it was important to address this. But I don't know. I get why Diamond is doing it, but at the same time,
And
Like,
I just looked up a comic book store owner right now. He retweeted 8 hours ago that Diamond UK is shutting as well.
okay, so that's big news too. I mean, and Diamond, they have these massive warehouses where books are basically they're on this conveyor belt and they go down, they pick them up and they put them in the boxes. And because they ship two kinds of boxes. They ship what are commonly referred to as the diamond boxes, which are these small little boxes that have different a series of different books in them based on count. So you could have 10 copies of a book from Image and 20 copies of a book from DC in these boxes. And then there are printer boxes, what we refer to as printer boxes, that come straight from the publishing printers. So you would have full boxes of Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Iron Man and things like that. So these warehouses, they're very crowded and they're very busy. And I understand that for once, Diamond wants to look out for the safety of their workers, but this will have repercussions. So I can't sit here and shake my fist at Diamond too much for making a decision to try and keep people healthy. Mm-hmm. But, as comic book fans and, as podcasters and doing what, the three of us have chosen to do with this, we need to look at of what this means for the industry. I mean, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling because I am shell-shocked by this, like Travis said.
Apparently Archie said they're re-examining any further releases past April.
Damn. It's kind of another repercussion that we didn't really I guess I haven't thought about myself, is that the big two are going to be fine, but who of the third parties are going to survive?
I'm not gonna hang a bring out your dead sign out, because that would be really bad. But yeah, Travis has a point, because it's like we're at a point, we're at the hanging nail of who can survive this. There's a lot of indie publishers that are just trying to get off the ground. There's Kickstarters that are trying to get off the ground right now. I saw a couple of different people just got their books back from the printers. So now, granted, that will be fine because mailing is still fine. But in general, sooner or later, the U.S. Postal Service might have to hit hunker down for a minute. So even mail order stuff might get hard here soon. So it's just I think the biggest concern is we don't have the ability of Diamond to just bail out shops. So it's a scary prospect to see. Yeah, obviously DC and Marvel will be fine. They have large companies backing them. Hell, WB has AT&T now. But this is some scary shit.
And I think one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about this right now is kind of to highlight the fact that, Diamond is a monopoly. That this one decision from one company, impacts thousands of stores across the US, hundreds of creators, dozens of publishers. And, that's just, I have a big ass problem with that,
Yeah, and it's I remember watching this YouTube history video this guy did, where he broke down the entire situation of how Diamond became a monopoly. There was this whole situation where there was a couple of different distributors, a couple of them fell under. Diamond and Dark Horse joined forces with Diamond. No, DC and Dark Horse joined forces with Diamond. Marvel tried to buy their own distributor and have all their books only come from them, but then when literally the distributor caught fire because they didn't have the right safety regulations, Marvel came to Diamond with their hand out we don't know what to do, can you help us? So it literally just became a monopoly that is out of the control of everyone. So it's I don't really know if there's ever going to be an answer to this.
Yeah.
What stops the comic book companies from pulling out of Diamond and moving to Amazon?
That is a legal question that I couldn't even begin to think of. I mean, I don't know when the contracts expire, if they're yearly, if they're every 5 years, if they're every 10 years. I don't actually know.
Well, I remember hearing that there was a loophole in the contract with DC that DC has the ability to buy Diamond at some point. I don't know if that is still on the table, if Diamond ever bought out that section of the contract, but when the whole thing happened where DC partnered with Diamond, they made that stand that that they could possibly buy Diamond at some point. So is there a chance, if like theoretically, is there a chance that like AT&T could swoop in and save Diamond?
I have heard that rumor before, and from everything I've seen, it's been ruled largely unsubstantial.
Okay.
As conjecture, maybe, but I have seen no definitive proof of that being the case. Maybe it was 20 years ago, but because by 94, Diamond owned 45% of direct market distribution. So at one point there could have been a clause like that, but I have not seen any definitive evidence that that clause exists.
Okay. So,
but
go ahead.
Let's just say, like, it is, like, you know, hypothetically it is true. They could, but I don't know if they would, you know?
Okay. Well, I do think one thing that is important is that Mary has shared this tweet with us that Marv Wolfman had put out, which is help out your local comic book shop if you can, buying graphic novels and collected editions, order them and pay credit card so the store owner can get the paid now, which is a good thing. I know that a lot, like I think we mentioned it last week on the show, that like different companies have the ability to, or different shops have the ability to have an extension through Comixology. So if you can see if your shop does have that, and a little bit of money can go to them at the very least if you're buying digitally. But right now it's kind of in a weird position where we don't know what's going to happen.
Because you know, we wanted to make a call for people, you know, if you're not in a shelter in place, you know, reach out to your local comic book store. A lot of them are doing curbside pickup, where, you know, you go to the store, you call them, you let them know what's going on, they basically stick it on a card outside, you know, you do the transaction over the phone or whatever, and so you still get your comics, but you're still practicing social distancing, because that is very important right now. I don't care how you feel about the virus. No, social distance is important.
It's important. Don't act like it's not, y'all.
I never like to get too close to people in public anyway, so but definitely reach out to them. Like James said with the tweet from Marv Wolfman, buy trades if you can, buy collectibles or whatever if you have the extra money, which I know is hard for a lot of people right now, but if you can, it would be a really cool thing for you to do. And, you know, not only are we looking at the implications for local comic book shops with Diamond, if you know, take Diamond and you turn it the other way and look at it, you have creators that are in just as much of a nightmare position, because they get paid royalties, and if they don't have royalties coming in, they're in a shitty situation, because like every big two comic creator that you love, every comic creator pretty much in general is freelance. So they don't get health insurance, they don't get you know, retirement, life insurance, anything like that. They're completely freelance. With a, you know, big corporate publisher, the only people who are actually employees are the editors. So if you crack open a DC book and, you know, you see that, you know, a book written by Tom King or something, Tom King is not employed by DC, he is contracted, and the only person that actually works for DC is the person who has edited that book. So buying on Comixology does help support the creators. I don't know what the royalty ratio is, but
it exists.
It exists. And comics is in a really awkward position right now. I mean, LCSs are going to go under. Creators are going to be hit even harder than they do get hit sometimes. And I think, you know, this is kind of a call to action that we as fans can try to help do something about it. So if you monetarily are able to, you know, buy trades from your local comic book shop, you know, if you see that, you know, that Greg Rucka book on Comixology that, you know, you've been wanting and your LCS didn't have it, buy it on Comixology. Like,
Okay.
To
And
be
Brian Michael Bendis put a great thing out on Twitter a little bit ago. He said creating is not canceled, and I think
yeah.
that kind of speaks well to what's going on. Is that like I don't think creators are gonna give up. Like even though publishers are kind of on shutdown right now, I think the biggest thing we can try to do is support the creators.
Yeah. Speculatively, in my opinion, I think we could potentially see publishers starting to trim what books they actually publish to try and kind of, condense their lineup a bit. IDW has said that that might be what they are doing moving forward.
Damn.
But, I don't know, like I said, at time of writing for this episode, we don't know a lot of what's going on, but we wanted to make an early call to action about what you can do to support your local comic book shops or to, support creators that you enjoy. And now, especially if you monetarily can afford comics, don't pirate them. Like,
Please
if you can
don't.
monetarily afford them, do not pirate them, especially not right now.
Please don't.
We need that so we lose our medium.
Yeah, no, like, I know there's the jokes around, like, I know there was the whole thing before of, like, the war between creators and fans of, oh, we can't afford it, that's no excuse. No, like, if you can, please support the industry, y'all. Like, I understand that books be $4 or $5 a pop, but, like, if you can, please do.
Or if you have a group of friends, man, come up with, like, a little fund. You could buy issues together and pass it around, probably at virus time. Sanitize it in between.
Yep.
But
Oh my god.
still.
Also, Travis, you are cutting out real bad, bro.
Darn it.
Like everything was audible, but, like, it was a little choppy there.
I mean, even Travis's mic is shell-shocked.
Like, so, yeah. I think if we get more information, I don't know how, like depending on schedules, we'll try to do these more than once a week for a little bit, just to keep everybody informed. Maybe see if we can try to get some interviews with creators or something like that to get things moving and get, like, more interest in books that you can buy on Comixology or at your LCS through pickup. So look out for more episodes from us, because we're definitely going to try to keep coverage going on.
Oh yeah, and I think I can speak for both James and Travis when I say that, we really want to try and do our part here, and, we want to reach out to more people, see who we can promote, that kind of a thing.
Oh,
so,
most stuff.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Don't forget that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, YouTube, a couple other different outlets and whatnot. Still haven't heard back from iHeartRadio and Pandora, but you can best believe we will let you know when you can catch us on there. You can follow us on Twitter at PTP_podcast for all updates with the podcast. If you want to send us a message about like through an email, you can DM us on Twitter. If you would like to email us a statement, if you're a comic book shop, if you want to talk to us, if you want to have a statement read on the show about supporting folks, you can email us at ptppodcast@on-comics-ground.com. We will get back to you as soon as we can. Or at least DM us on Twitter if you want to talk to us. We would love to get with you and talk to you about what's going on.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure, go for it.
I want it to be said that I filed a FOIA request for the Department of Justice in their Diamond investigation from 1997, and FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act. And I got that bing bang boom all sent out, and then I did some, just some poking around and found all 500 plus pages because someone else had done a FOIA request. So now I kind of get to sit on that and try to awkwardly see if I can cancel that request. But I'm actually going to be a truly insane person and go through the entire investigative paperwork that the Department of Justice has, just so I want to know why it was okay for them to maintain a monopoly over the direct market.
Okay.
And if I find anything interesting, obviously we will pass it along, but wish me luck.
Most def. All right.
It's wild to think about how, like, damaging this is to the entire, like, every part of the comics industry is affected by this. Every single one.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We will catch you folks next time right here at Panel to Panel. Peace out.